Welcome to our Civil War documentary.
Today we will be sharing with you the causes and concerns of the Civil War.
There were 5 causes to the Civil War. The first cause was states' rights versus federal rights. Articles of Confederation made for a weak federal government. The country called for a meeting to create a new constitution which supported a strong federal government. There were many who supported states' rights more. Those who supported the states' rights, like Thomas Jefferson and Patrick Henry, were not present at the meeting because they felt that the new Constitution ignored the rights of the states. They continued to act independently and fought for nullification, which would give the states the right to rule federal acts unconstitutional. When they weren't given access to this, they turned towards secession. The second cause of the Civil War was state secession.
Secession from the Union. South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union, and it started a chain reaction of southern state secession.
The third cause of the Civil War is the economic and social differences between the North and the South. The Northern economy was based more on industry than agriculture, and the South was based on the plantation system, while the North was focused on city life. This meant that society evolved, and as people of different cultures and classes came, they had to work together. But this didn't work. Also, as cotton became the number one crop in agriculture, there was an increased need for slave labor.
The fourth cause of the Civil War was President Lincoln's election. It had many Southerners worried that slavery would soon be outlawed. The fifth cause of the Civil War was the abolitionist movement. Many Southerners feared that if slavery was abolished, then their economy would be shot.
These are some pictures of some of the abolitionists of this time. They included Frederick Douglass, John Brown, and William Lloyd Garrison. The Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 was passed as part of the Compromise of 1850, and it forced any federal official who did not arrest a runaway slave to be liable to pay a fine. And this caused many abolitionists to increase their efforts against slavery and caused an increased use of the Underground Railroad. After this Fugitive Slave Act was passed, abolitionists were forced to define what they believed was an unjust law or breaking with their own consciences or beliefs. They started defining it, and people started sympathizing with abolitionists against slavery and slaveholders, and especially after Uncle Tom's Cabin was published, and also John Brown's raid and the Dred Scott case. Now for the concerns of the Civil War. The 3 concerns are: number 1, that the South was concerned about the war demolishing slavery. Number 2, the Union was concerned about secession and reuniting the Union. And number 3, that Lincoln was concerned about the capital being surrounded by Confederate states. Jefferson Davis was the President of the Confederate States of America.
President Lincoln was concerned that Jefferson Davis would eventually take over the states surrounding the capital. The Emancipation Proclamation struck fear into the hearts of Southerners. The African Americans were now participating in the war itself, and after the war, they participated in politics. The Civil War gave women a chance to finally fight for their rights. During the Civil War, women served an important part. Most women were nurses, and they started getting recognition. One of the best-known women was Clara Barton. She helped to start the American Red Cross.
The Civil War lasted from 1861 to 1865 and led to over 618,000 casualties. These are a few pictures from the Civil War.